talk financing. They talk about how did the company get money to operate. Okay? So how do you get money to operate? Oh, they get it through capital and loans. In business, you learn about own and borrowed funds. Ne? Does that make sense? So how does a company get capital? By issuing shares. So this is going to be replaced by shareholders' equity, because it's going to be the capital and the retained income. That's how they get money on their own, that belongs to them. But they're going to make that money more by borrowing money. Now, the moment you know borrowing, what two ratios comes to mind? Debt equity and ROTCE. Immediately. You do not even think about it. And when they talk about risk, you know they want to know about debt equity. Why is that? Because the bank looks at debt equity. The bank is going to look to see if this company is functioning on loans. And if they are functioning on loans, they're not going to give you another loan. Because how are you going to pay off the loans if you are already functioning too much on loans? The ROTCE is when they are talking gearing. I know both of them's got the word gearing, but when they ask a question where they say comment on the risk, you will do the debt equity with the high-low gearing. Okay, high-low risk. The ROTCE talks about the positive, negative gearing. Because what does the company want to see? Oh, if I'm making this loan, is it worth it? So what they're going to do is they're going to take the net profit before they take the interest into account that they pay on the loan, right? Then they're going to work a percentage, the loan and the owner's equity, shareholders' equity. They're going to work out a percentage, and that's their return with the loan. And then they're going to see how much are they paying for the loan. So in other words, if their ROTCE is say 17%, but the interest on loan is 20%, then the loan is not helping them to move forward. It's actually taking them back, because they need to pay more for the loan than what the loan brings in. You see? Then we say it's a negative gearing. And then the company are going to start paying back that loan or not take the loan, because it means the loan does not have a positive effect. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's going in very deep. But whenever they do questions like this, it's actually extremely easy marks, because you got a little format question answer. You say the debt equity of, and then you quote it, is, and then you say high, low risk, high, low geared. Okay? Remember, anything up until 0.49 to 1 is low. 0.51 and higher is high. 0.5, you go look at last year and you see which side is it moving to. Then you add the words. The company is moving towards high geared or low geared. Okay. So let's look. They ask me, they want to buy new fixed assets, and we can already see that, because what happened with the dividend payout policy? They already retained more income. Identify the two main sources that were used. So how do we finance things? On our own and by borrowing. So already, if I look at this, can you see here? We sold fixed assets, Can you see our share capital increased with how much? More than 2 million. Okay? It's 3 million, 2 point something million, and our loan increased. Can you see both of these two is way more than the fixed assets that we sold? Right. So you're going to say, we issued more capital. You're going to take that difference. We made a loan. You take that difference. Does that make sense to you? Always remember, when you need to finance something, your two main sources is capital and loan. It's always your main sources. So they say shares issued, and they don't even want the difference. They just said it increased to 22.8. And increase in loan, you just have to say it increased to that. You don't even have to go calculate the difference. Does that make sense to you? So already you got 4 ticks there. Yes, baby.
In this example, how would you...
Okay, let's first see what the example says. And then we'll go on and see if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. Do you guys understand? There's 3 ways to quote. The easiest way is just to say it went to the newest amount. Okay? That's your easiest way. You can go and get the difference, but that takes time. The moment you have to push a button, it takes time. Do you get more marks for it? No. So don't do it. Okay. Now, the next question. Can you see what I mean with I went through my answer book, everything is the same. Now I can just read here. Explain how the decisions affected the risk and gearing. Risk, I just told you, debt equity. Gearing, ROTCE. Okay, now look at this. 1 tick for debt equity, 1 for ROTCE. Do you understand why I say to you, the moment you see this headings, and I actually, the guy who set up the prelim, he said it to us, make your kids aware of the fact that they must look at the headings. Okay? Because this already tells me which ratios he's going to ask. Which ratio is he going to ask? You see? It already tells me. It's already a clue. Okay. So now we want to look at the risk gearing. So, debt equity. Can you see debt equity is getting stronger? How? Why? It's then going down. Can you see my loan? The ratio loan is getting smaller. So you can say the debt equity decreased to 0.221, which makes this business or company low geared, a low risk. Okay. Let's say, and now I'm trying to answer your question, let's say it was swapped. Let's say it was 0.2 here, and please can I ask, when you do a ratio and you want to say, it increased with 0.3, né? Or it decreased with 0.3. You can't do that because this is a ratio. So if you want to say how much it decreased, you have to say it decreased with 0.3 to 1. You must keep the ratio. You get what I'm saying? Especially with liquidity. Okay, but let's say it was 0.2 and now it's 0.5. So 0.5, I cannot say it's high geared or low geared, it's right in the middle. So what am I doing? I'm looking. Did it move? What side did it move to? Did it move higher or lower? Higher. So you say debt equity at 0.5 to 1 is moving towards high gearing, high risk. Does that make sense? Okay. Next one. Let's say this was, let me just make sure you understand because I like talking. Let's say this was 0.821 and now it's 0.5. Then you say debt equity is moving at 0.5 towards low gearing. because it's going down. Yeah. So, and there, can you see how many marks you get? And this is for this question. They ask it in the weirdest ways. They will give you a paragraph about, oh, they want to fix the buildings right inside with this and this, and the directors are having a big talk about should they make a, they'll give you a big story. But the moment you see financing, risking, gear, loan, you switch off. You're not going to answer the question. You're going to go into format mode. And your format mode is debt equity, ne? Is, and you quote it, and you say low, high gear, or risk. And then you say Rotke, and you quote it, and you compare it. Versus means compare it to the interest on loan, and you say positive, negative geared. And there you got 6 marks. You hear what I'm saying? The only place where you are here allowed to have something wrong is your interpretation in the end. You must get at least a 4 out of 6. Is everybody sharp? Are you getting hope? He's demanding, eh? I don't know demanding people like him. I'm pulling your leg. Okay, so now we've got that. So can you see with this, that is a definite 2. That was a definite 3. This one I explained 1 wrong, so I got 3. This one is a definite 4. This one is a definite 6. Can you see basically so far you've got full marks? 6 plus 4, it's 10, 16, 18. You need 45, then you got 30%. This is only 1 page of the paper. Okay? Stop being scared of ratios. Now if I go to this one. So now they talk percentage shareholding. When they talk percentage shareholding, we know it's about what? Majority. It's about the majority thing. So your steps with that is you always want to know how much do I have now? Ne? And then you want to calculate, then you read the question. Because they might ask you how much do they need to buy to get majority or anything else. Then you go further. Okay, now let's look. To calculate the number of shares that Grant bought through the rights issue, 31st October. Now, can I tell you, while I'm reading that, I'm getting queasy. Because I have not seen this question before and it's like, oh, calm down. What are you going to do? What you're going to do? You're going to see. Okay, I want to know how many shares did Grant buy. Okay, before I get stressed out and want to run away, let's go see what information they give me. I see, I don't see anything. Where do you see it? I see. What? Where? After the question there. Wow. So if I look at this, it looks like part of the questions, but it's actually the info. Okay, you guys have worked through this paper, ne? So if this happens Monday, you're not going to be stressed like me and go all crazy, ne? Okay, so now let's look. They say there's 3 million shares in issue. He owes 1.6 million. Okay, now they say Each shareholder was offered 10 shares for every 50. So, he owns 1620. Ne? So, let's see, for every 50 shares, how many 50 share bundles does he have? 3, 2. And for each of that, he can buy 10. Ne? Huh? Okay, so what they are saying, for every, let's say I'm saying for every highlighter I have, I'm allowed to get one extra. So how many highlighters do I have? So how many can I get extra? 3. That's the most basic. Does that make sense to you? How did we do it mathematically? I said I have 3 highlighters and I can get 1 highlighter for each one of them. Ne? So 3 highlighters times 1 each gives me 3 highlighters. What if I've said to you, for every 3 highlighters I can get 1? How many highlighters can I get extra now? Only 1. Yeah, because I've got 3, so I can get 1. So what they say here is for every 50, he can buy 10. So basically, you're going to divide it by 50 to see how many bundles of 50 he's got. And for each bundle of 50, he can buy 10. Does that make sense? Okay. So, okay. So now they say, calculate Grant's percentage shareholding after the rights issue. Now, when we issue, is it only him that's buying the shares? Is the amount of shares in issue, ne? Is it going to stay 3 million? No, it's not going to stay 3 million because they are issuing 10 shares for every 50 shares people own. So, how many shares are going to be in issue now? I must just look at the memo that I'm not doing stupid stuff. So, if I say there's 3 million shares in issue, how many 50 bundles do I have? Means I can buy 10, that I'm going to issue 10 for every 50. So how many am I going to issue? 600,000. So what is my total issued shares now? 3.6 million. Does that make sense? What I did is I did exactly the same as what I did with this individual guy. I said, okay, so at this stage, the ratio is like this. He owns 1,620, ne? Out of an issued 3 million. This is what it is before the issue. But what's going to happen now? All the existing shareholders can buy 10 shares for every 50 they own. So meaning we need to issue extra shares. So it's going to be more than 3 million. So I'm going to use the same calculation. I'm going to divide by 50 and I'm going to times with 10. Then I get 3.6 million shares are going to be in issue now. Right? You guys with me?
Why would you do the otherwise? Why would you do the...
Because now they're asking me what is his percentage ownership.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I want to get his shares as a percentage of the total.
Okay, then what if you were to minus his majority share from the 3 million? would you still get the answer? Meaning you would have the 3 million minus the 1,620,000
Yeah.
amount, and then use the fee.
But then you get what the percentage is of the other people.
Then if you not mathematical, and then get this.
Okay. This is Saturday morning. My brain does not want to go there. Let's first get this one. Get an answer. You do your method and you see if you get the same answer as me, and then we talk. Okay. So.
Are these shares included in the 3 million or 3 million and
Okay. So let me do it nice and big. So we have before and we have after. Right? So before he owned 1,620. Right? Out of 3 million. Now the company is going to issue shares to the ratio 10 shares for every 50 that's out there. And then I get, oh, they're going to issue an extra 600,000. Ne? Which means now after the issue, there is now 3.6 million shares in issue. Does that make sense? Okay? But now, this guy made use of the offer. So he went and he bought 10 shares for every 50 shares that he owns. And we calculated that, the 324, is that right? Yeah, the 324. So now he owns what? 1,944,000, is that right? Okay. And now I calculate, is he still a majority shareholder? Does that make sense? Do you think this is an easy, difficult, medium question? Sure. And if you feel that this is difficult, what do? You run. Okay. So now I get a percentage here, and what is that? So he is still a majority shareholder. Okay. Remember, there's two methods to get majority. The one is 51%. The other one is 50% plus 1. In other words, if there's 10 shares in issue, he needs to have 5, the 50%, plus 1. Does that make sense? In other words, the one would, if there's a million, let's say there's a million shares in issue. So the one method, we will say, okay, times 51% means he needs to have 510,000 shares to be majority. The other method says he's going to calculate half of that million, 50%, and it gives me 500,000. And he just needs 1 extra share. Both methods are marked in the exam. So now, the thing with this is, remember, consistency is a GARP principle. So if a company calculates majority shareholding this way, he has to continue to do it. He chooses a method. Okay? Yes.
Okay.
So does yours work?
No.
Okay, so then no.
Maybe what I maybe I thought because I thought that 1,620,000 was part of the 3 million as the majority shares.
Yeah, it was part of the 3 million. It's just the part of the 3 million that he owns. So if you calculate this, what do you get? What's the percentage here? 1.620 divided 3 million times 100, what is the percentage? 53.
Four.
Also 54. And it actually makes sense because in relation it increased the same. Does that make sense? Okay. So, now see that's some of 5 marks. Now they ask, next question. So we have, calculate the total amount that Grant spent on the shares he acquired through the rights issue. No shares were repurchased, meaning I can calculate the issue price. Now, so I'm going to take that 324, and can you see the 324 is a bagel? Because they're going to look, what did you use here? Ne? So they mark on your mistake. So already you got a bagel there. And now I need to calculate what is the price he paid for it. So let's go read. What did they say? How much did they pay? They say each for every 50 shares at a reduced price. All shareholders exercised this right. No other shares were issued or repurchased. So if I go look at the ordinary share capital, that difference there is the amount that was issued, got through issuing shares. Does that make sense to you? So the start of the year, the company had 28.8. After the issue of the new shares, they've got 31.7. Does it make sense to you if I say the difference between the two is the money they made through issuing that extra shares? For the company. Yeah, for everyone. This is the company's information. So now we want to know how many rands did they make. Ne? The difference there is 2,970. Is that right? Okay. How many shares were issued? Now remember, we are now working with the company, not with him. How many shares were issued? No, extra 600,000. So if I divide that by 600,000, I get the price they asked per share. You see? No. Yes, no? Let's quickly think. Let's make it an easier one. I say to you, the start of the year, my capital, my opening balance was 300,000. My closing balance was 500,000. I sold 100 items. What was the price per item? Does this thing, can you see how you're going to do this? Let's quickly think. How much money did I make? 200,000. How many items did I sell? 100. So how much did I ask for each item? Can you see the principle? Now come and apply that principle here. Same principle. I made money. How much money did I make? I had 28 million. Now I have 31 million. So I made 2.9 million. How many items did I sell to get that money? 600,000. So how much did I ask per item? Does that make sense? Okay. So now I can see, oh, I made R4.95. And the question was, how much did he spend? So he didn't buy 600,000 shares. He bought 324. And he paid R4.95 for each one. There we go. The second option is more complicated because what they did is they looked at I have no idea. What is that 27? Okay, we're not going to go there. Don't get confused with stuff that your teacher doesn't know on the spot. Okay. Rather look at these ones. Everybody happy? Because this one makes more sense anyway. So, Grant intends to convince. Can you see I'm reading from the answer book? I'm not going to the question paper. Why? Because during reading time I check that everything's the same. Okay. Grant intends to convince the board of directors to repurchase shares from him in the next year at 12 Rand a share. Now, I want you to please get in the habit of, if you're seeing, where's that question now? If you see buy or what, or sell, or issue, or repurchase, those words, when you see those ones, you immediately go into the format mode. And what's your format mode? You go look at the price. So if they're talking repurchase, or if they're talking issue, you go look at the issue price or the repurchase price. Ne? And you go and you compare it to the market price and the NAV. And you don't have to say anything else. You're already going to get ticks by doing that. Why do I want to do that? I want to see if this price is fair. Because what? What is the market price again? It's a JSE price. That's what people are willing to pay. That's how popular the share is. What is the NAV? That is the real value inside the company. What do? They take the capital amount, the share capital, they add their savings, they divide it by the amount of shares, and they say this is how much the share is worth. Because that's the money the share brought in. Isn't that true? Yes. So, that's what we use. So now let's go look. What did they give me? They gave me the NAV. They gave me, is there a market price? Yes. Now remember, the market price is usually separate from the company's ratios because it's not part of the company's ratios. Okay? Now, he wants them to buy it at 12 Rand. Now let's go have a look. How much is the net asset value? 5 Rand 64. How much is the market value? Are you going to tell this guy yes, or are you going to tell him he's crazy? He's totally crazy, man. Really. Come back to earth. You're not that important. So what are you going to tell him? You're going to, the paper. What are you going to write on the paper? You're just going to say, the repurchase price of 12 Rand, you have to mention it, is higher, and then you say, than market price of 950 and NAV of 564. For me, it's easier to work in rands than cents. When you go into investment, you'll see they always work in cents, though. Okay? But in school, they mark it right if you work in rands. Okay? So now, let's go look what they say. Any two valid points with figures. So they say the repurchase price exceeds the market price. Oh, how many points are we going to get? The repurchase price exceeds the NAV. Oh! Ne? And was it an extremely train smash, difficult thing to do? So please guys, there's certain keywords. Ne? If they talk issue price, repurchase price, immediately compare this with NAV and market price. And if it counted out of 6 marks and they wanted you to have a super clever comment, then you just say there, it is not a fair repurchase price to ask. You get your 2 marks. You hear what I'm saying? Or this guy's crazy asking this much. You'll get your 2 marks. Okay. But don't write the crazy one because you might get a marker that doesn't have a sense of humor. Okay. 3.6. What? Oh, it's too long. I'm having such a good talking time.